Hey to the most amazing nurses. It is Dr. V here with Morning Infusion with Dr. V podcast, where we are intentional about teaching nurses how to work from anywhere around the world, making money and owning your own time, building profitable nurse coaching and consulting businesses. You will hear from amazing guests that have grown their companies and want to share insight into how you can do the same to change the face of healthcare as we know it. If you want to grow your businesses and leverage your knowledge as a nurse to grow wildly successful businesses at the top, instead of working your way to the top, head on over and join our Millionaire Nurse CEO group on Facebook, where you can ask questions and get updates on our live and virtual events to help you grow your businesses. Good morning, everyone. So I'm super excited this morning, okay? Because we got Nikki. All right, NikkiIsTheBomb.com. All right, absolutely phenomenal person, okay, from the gate. All right, so I'm going to ask everyone that you like, share, comment on the podcast, download the podcast on Apple and Spotify. I want to make sure that other people are knowing about us. Let us know what we're doing good. Let us know what you would like to see. We want to ensure that you're receiving what you need to receive. So Nikki informed me before we came on that Nikki is not a nurse. We all know that we don't just talk to nurses on this podcast, okay? Now, nurses are the majority, but Nikki is doing an amazing job for nurses, okay? So we want to talk to Nikki so we can get our lives together. All right, so now, Nikki, tell us who you are in your own words.
Well, my name, like you said, is Nikki Anarado. I am founder of Prepare to be Pursued, and I work with women, including nurses, to get pursued, pampered, and prioritized by quality men without living in fear of her past, okay? So, yeah, work with them on everything regarding confidence, putting yourself back out there, shining in social settings, actually getting approached, understanding how women are to contribute to their own outcomes while dating. It's just fun work. And thank you so much for having me.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Now, Nikki, you started out your career doing something a little bit different.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what you were doing initially.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Why didn't you become a nurse? I just want
those questions. I'm extremely squeamish. All right. So my daughter is in nursing school. So I love nurses. I have plenty of nurses in my family. I'm Nigerian, first generation African American. So my parents came here from Nigeria about 2-3 years before I was born. And so we have a lot of nurses in our family, so my heart goes out. But I'm squeamish. I can't take the blood and all the things. Oh, Lord.
So have that. I'm good.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for nurses, a tremendous respect. So good work for everything that you all do. We appreciate you. What I did before doing this work actually was interesting because it had something to do with healthcare for sure. So, I was in corporate America, as most people are before they go into entrepreneurship. And in that, started off kind of, intro level, administrative support, all that kind of stuff. And it was in a healthcare advisory and consulting firm in Washington, D.C., where I was pretty much raised in the Maryland area. And from that, moved up into a more business development role. And so that gave me the insights of behind the scenes of how they are actually connecting their services to land deals. Okay. And so my job was to find opportunities that were best suited for the type of services that the organization provided. And so from that, I moved on to another opportunity at another location, which included, again, business development. But in that, I was writing proposals for the deals that they wanted to have. And that was a placement agency, so a healthcare placement agency that included placing nurses. And I ended up being assigned to the department specifically for nursing contracts. So I got to know a little bit about how those short-term and long-term contracts are designed and things like that. So that was fun.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And I love how and this is one thing that I say all the time, take what you have learned from the current job that you have, and you need to take that information when you become an entrepreneur. People are like, well, I don't really care about to know that. Yes, you do. You want to know how they're running things in order to be where you are. I think one of the things that helped me when I was in nursing, because I was the readmissions manager at one point in time, and I was in the ER. And one of the things that we were taught in the emergency department was a number. So everybody was kind of competitive when it came to the numbers. So, on average across the US, you should not have any more than 2% left without being seen.
Right.
You should not, your door to drug time, your door to admission times, those times matter, right? And they matter because when those times are good, then it affects the quality of the patient care.
Absolutely.
So those things I always harness. And then when I get to the readmissions department, we took the readmissions from 12% to 9%. And we were able to just really, really have an amazing program. We started up the community paramedic program and things of that nature. And so numbers and understanding those numbers is what is my strength when it comes to business now, because those numbers are what help you grow and move the needle within your business for sure. So I love what you said about that. So now, what made you say, well, I kind of want to go into entrepreneurship? What happened?
There was a series of events, but ultimately it just, I have no other explanation other than God, just lining things up in a way where it was like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is literally what I'm supposed to be doing. So it first started with me just having a personal interest of having conversations about dating and relationships. And I would just do it just to, as a hobby, host events and everything like that. And it just began to grow. And I began to become kind of sought after to kind of host events for people and moderate conversations for people and things like that. And so it just became a thing. And so just having kind of exposure to that space and meeting other people that were kind of doing similar things, that's what made me understand that there's a whole environment where you can actually make a living doing this. I had no clue prior to that. So that was just something I just had in the back of my head, but still just did stuff because I just love to do it. Until it got to a point where one of my panelists, he's a therapist, one of the events that I organized, he pulled me to the side and said, you should be doing this full time. You're telling us what to do and what to say and how to do it. He was like, you should be doing this full time. You need to become a certified coach. And the next time I talk to you, I want that to have been done. And so that was the battery in my back to look into it a little bit more. And at that point, I had to make a decision in regards to what my next 5 years was, how I was going to commit my next 5 years. And so just like you, I'm a logical thinker and I use numbers to kind of like guide me a little bit in sometimes. So I literally created a chart. And I'm not sure what to call this chart, but I don't know if it's a probability chart or what, but it helped me make a list of all of the things that I wanted to experience in my life. And then I put options as far as what different paths I could possibly take. It could be further my education. It could be just stay at the corporate environment that I was in. They had great benefits. I was getting paid really well. I could have just stayed there and grew and then see how far I can get. Or lastly, to start the process of diving deep into potentially becoming a full-time coach. And so did all the numbers, did all the checks and balances, and overwhelmingly becoming a coach panned out to be in alignment with what I wanted long-term. So
I love it. So it became in alignment with everything that you wanted to do. So what are some of the things that you wanted to do? So can you share that?
Yeah, absolutely. Wanted the flexibility, right? Because at the time I was working downtown DC, lived in Northern Maryland in Howard County, if anybody's familiar. And I moved up there. At the time, my daughter was in junior high, going to high school. So it was very important to me that she was in a proper, zip code, if you will, you know what I mean? So that, if anybody understands the geography of that area, without traffic, that's a good hour drive. With traffic, 2-3 hours tops each way. Okay. So hauling that distance, but the people did it. It wasn't just me. All right. So masses of people were operating that way because the pay obviously was way better in downtown DC than it usually is in Maryland. So tracking and doing that for a year at that point, I realized that I was spending a little too much time with my daughter. And I just wanted that freedom. I wanted I was just curious to know what that life could look like, to have that freedom. And also just live a life that's actually in alignment with my natural gifts, rather than feeling like in the corporate environment, I had to suppress my emotional intelligence type stuff. You know what I mean? And you almost have to morph into, like you said, that competitive environment. There is not one corporate job where there isn't an element of severe, conflict at times, and also competition. And it's just the nature of the game. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but it was stressful. Okay. And so I would rather pour that type of effort into building something than to continuously grow these companies at the level that I ended up being, especially in my last position. I'm contributing to deals that are plus, like, I think the last one was $35 million. And so I'm really actively putting these teams together and putting these plans together and helping everybody understand this win is possible. Doing all that, I'm like, I can do this for myself. It isn't going to be overnight, but I just had to see it as a possibility. So yeah.
I love it. It's absolutely. So now tell me, this is one of the things that I really love about what you just said. Mm-hmm. Because me and one of my, I'm gonna say she's a colleague at this point, okay? Mm-hmm. Just because I don't reveal who she is, okay? Mm-hmm. She has a job that we're very that if I said who she was, they would know who she is, okay? Yes. So we'll just leave it at that. Well, okay. We were having a conversation, mm-hmm. and she was a full-time entrepreneur, and then she went back to corporate. And I told her, I said, don't do it. Do not do it. And she kept saying, I want to go back, the paycheck is stable, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, so no, it's not. And it was interesting because I was just having a conversation with Dr. Martin just a few minutes ago. And one of the things that she talked about was the fact that she got fired, right? She was invited to the C-suite, and they told her that today was her last day, right? So that stability that you think that you have with a job is not stable at all. That's number one. Mm-hmm. As long as you're doing the work, right? The hard work, the backbreaking work, yes, forever, right? Yes. But whenever you start to get into a position where you actually you're actually utilizing your intellectual property, and you're actually doing the things that you need to do to elevate the company, or not, however it goes, right? Mm-hmm. You get into those higher positions, then what people don't realize is that sometimes they aren't what they appear to be.
Yes, and a lot of times.
and with that, right, then you don't have the flexibility to, number one, I can say who my political party is, right? I don't have the fear. I'm just like, you get what you get with me. Yeah. At this point in my stage, right, I can say I can say the things that people won't say. Like, there's two sides of healthcare, right? There's the executive side, and there's the side where people are at the bedside, right?
Right.
Two things, right? I can say those things, right? Mm-hmm. And having the flexibility to be able to just go where I want to go. And the other day we were doing our inner circle retreat, and we were in Montego Bay. We had, our flight got pushed back a day. If I work for corporate America, let me tell you something, I would have been stressed.
Yes.
But absolutely. I just said, I had to coach that night. I put another one of my team members in place. I said, you're going to have to coach tonight, right?
Yes.
And I had that freedom and flexibility to say, okay, because I built the company so that we can have it like that. That
Right.
flexibility is game changing.
Yes. I mean, it definitely isn't for everybody. It definitely isn't. I didn't think that it was for me, to be honest. I remember being at my corporate job, and it was luxurious. I can't even lie. It was the most beautiful building you can probably ever find. It was amazing. I had my own office. I had all the kind of perks. I can come and go as I please. Again, I was paid very well. The benefits was out of this world. So I clearly remember having these type of conversations with folks that were entrepreneurs or were on their way, and I was just like, I can't do that. Why would I do that? I'm loving this. Like, why would I? But it comes to a point. Let me tell you something. It will come to a point, if you know that this is in your heart and in your future, where you'll look around and you realize how unsatisfied you are. And how unfulfilled you are. That might not happen for everybody, but you know it when it does. It hits you upside the head like a ton of bricks. It's like, wait a minute. I am pouring out, or you might be pouring out and working yourself to the bone, or alternatively, you got a cushy job. A lot of them jobs tend to be government job, good government job, they say, right? But you know what I mean? I have friends that are in those jobs and they are straight chilling. You can talk to them anytime. They leave, they come and go as they please and all this. That's fine. I'm not judging. But at the end of the day, if you are one of those individuals that are feeling, if you're feeling that draw, that there's something in you to give at a higher level and be more impactful than where you're currently at, then this is where you need to be. You need to figure it out.
Mouthful. Listen, I want y'all to just kind of chew on that for just a moment. We're gonna go to commercial break and we'll be right back.
Our live event is going down twice a year in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, called the Millionaire Nurse CEO Conference. We will be covering the blueprint and master plan to grow a wealthy and flourishing company. We love that you listen to the podcast, but we want you in the room. We will be sharing insights on marketing and sales strategies so that you are able to create more impact and make more money, creating more freedom so that you can do the things that you love. So join us for the nursing event of the century. Go to vpnursing.com to sign up for this life-changing event.
So listen, Nikki has been dropping some golden nuggets, okay? So I want y'all to catch these golden nuggets because she's been, listen. Sometimes you're not fulfilled where you are. So now, I want to know about, like, what was the first step into it? Like, what was the first step into, like, before you knew it was a thing, before you knew that you were going to do it? So tell me what happened. Like, what was the thing?
It was such a journey, I'm telling you. So I vividly remember having uncomfortable experiences at my my good, comfortable, predictable corporate job. And so it was cushy and everything, but at the same time, I realized that there was a limit to my growth there. I realized that I was being diminished, and also, there were forces and entities in that organization that just wanted me to just stay where I was and know my place and all this. So it was a good old boys type club type deal. And the level of effort that it would have taken me to kind of break through, I've already made some great headway in there, done things and proven things that were important to me. But yeah, it just became a day where it was just like, okay, I'm not going to get the opportunities in this space. You have to go where you're celebrated.
Not where you're tolerated.
Not where you're tolerated. And just shoot away as if you don't have value. All right. So, and that started, I would say that really became my narrative, that I didn't have value until I started walking more in, figuring out myself more, learning myself more. Okay. So that was just an internal journey that I was already kind of on. So anyway, yeah, once that became clear, that's what kind of led me to be more receptive to people's what they saw in me, you know, when I was doing those events in my free time and stuff like that, because I would just shoot away. I don't know what you're talking about. I can't do that, you know. But no, it became very clear, like, oh, you should probably look into this. Like, you're really good at X, Y, and Z. And so yeah, after starting to rebuild my confidence, that's when the decision was made. And I referenced that chart earlier. That chart was a decision. It really was. It wasn't, I was no longer on the fence or full of doubt or fear. It was a decision. So I declared to myself, every major life decision I'm going to make will be in alignment with the end goal here. That's it. That's it. That's it. And once I made a decision, people aren't lying when they tell you that the resources, God is going to start to expose you to stuff. People are going to just come in your presence. You're just like, what in the world? Let me tell you something. It's hard to believe until you actually live it and do it. So I understand that there's some resistance to that. No, I can't do that. No, it won't happen. I'll just stay right here. Leave me alone. I get it. I was that person. But once I made the decision, do you know that 3-hour commute kind of job that was cushy and everything, but it was just crazy? 3 days after I made that decision, I get a random email. This does not happen. That did not happen for me. From a recruiter, from a job that was 10 minutes away from my house. I followed up on that, did all the things, ended up getting that job. Not only did they match what I was making, because that was my concern, you know, losing income. Not only did they match it, but they gave me extra. Okay. Gave me extra. Let me tell you why that's important. Because once you make a decision not to be an entrepreneur, that doesn't mean you quit your job immediately. You know?
Let's put that down. Let's put that down, okay? Because people think, well, I'm just going to quit my job today. No.
Oh, no. There were, obviously, this is a financial thing. I mean, you got to be smart, right? But then there's also the things that I had to learn. The things that I had to learn. This particular position gave me a lot of control, a lot of exposure. They wanted you to think more of like an entrepreneur. That's just the way that it was set up. They wanted you to be more, to trust yourself more and be more bold. And those were opportunities I just did not have for the last 12 years I was at that other company. And so it was such an incredible strategic move, but I didn't even create that opportunity. It was given to me after I made that decision.
And that's I know that would be like that, right? Like you didn't have any idea that it would be like that. But God will put something in your hand and you'll be like, okay, well, let's try this. And then it works out like, oh, I see you, Lord.
Oh, it was challenging. It wasn't easy. There were parts of the opportunity that just drove me crazy. But those were things now that I know, now that I've been a full-time entrepreneur for 4 years now. Oh my God, if I didn't have those experiences, this journey would have been 10 times harder.
I love it. Oh my God, I love it. I love it. I love it. But I like what you said. Obviously, you know, you don't just quit your job. You pursue. You continue, because like what I did was I wrote myself a resignation letter, and when I wrote the resignation letter, it was 3 months, and I said within 3 months I'm going to make this happen. And when I remember when I first told my husband I was quitting my job, and he was like, "Say what now?" You know, at the end of the day, I was breaking out of the house, and he was like, "I don't think that's a good idea." And then I showed him the numbers. I was like, "This is the numbers."
The numbers don't lie.
They don't lie. People lie. Men lie. Women lie. Numbers don't lie. It's like, these are the numbers. I said, this is what's happening right now. He said, okay. And so I actually resigned a week prior to that particular that date was on that letter. And but it was a decision, you know, and you talked about decision. Dennis Kimbrough, he talks about decision, a decision that you make, right? And he it's called the wealth choice. I should know what it is because I always ask Alexa to play it whenever I get into the shower. It talks about, you know, having that choice, right? You have to make the choice that you're going to be wealthy. You have to make that choice. People always talk about it all the time. Woe is me. I had this happen. I had that happen. Listen, I don't want to hear. Not that I'm empathetic to a certain degree. Okay, very little degree. Okay, about what happened in your past, right?
Yeah.
Because my past was not. I didn't get a silver spoon in my mouth either, right? And so I'm empathetic to a certain degree, but at this point, we're grown.
Right.
Move past the past, okay? Learn from what we did, then move towards the future, and that's it.
Yeah.
Have that drive in order to move towards the future. So I love that about you. Now, tell me what you do for the nurses, or tell me what you do for the women, because I want to know. Like, I want to know what these events were like. Like, what happens at these events? Not because I got a sexy husband, so I had you with these events.
Yeah, but it's interesting. I do have married clients too, but more so obviously singles, right? So at the events, really, I try to make the events more so. We do definitely do some training and things like that, but I like it to be lighthearted and fun, because a lot of times women, they're overworked.
So are there women and men at the events, or they're just
no, it's just women. Okay. So a lot of times, these events, like for instance, we have a retreat. We do an annual retreat, stateside, and so this year's going to be in Jacksonville, Florida, where I live now. And we just hang out. We get to know each other. These are women that have been in my programs for months. They've seen each other on the calls. They've gotten to know each other through virtual experiences. So now it's an opportunity for them to actually meet each other in person. And so it's a weekend retreat, spa day, social development day, where we actually can go out together. So we do a VIP day. It's called Social Development Day, where we actually go out and implement some of the social skills that they've learned through the program. All right. So a lot of times, again, that's why it's prepare to be pursued, right? Sometimes we don't recognize the importance of preparation, right? Like, we don't despise small beginnings. Don't despise the steps that it might require for a woman to take to actually feel confident and know how to navigate a room, how to navigate social settings, how not to waste time in areas where, again, you're not celebrated, right? Recognize it quickly and move to opportunities that are more suitable for you. So some of those things are what we kind of use those times to focus on. But more than anything, it's just having a good time. A lot of times, hardworking nurses. I also work with HR directors. I work with women that are in mental health, so social workers, therapists, things of that nature. They're giving, they're pouring out, they're giving. They feel fulfilled in the work that they've chosen, right? So that's not really it. That's not what we're focused on. We're focused on how could you be filled in, even in your singleness. And a lot of times these women are not taking vacations. They got weeks of vacations just sitting there. Okay. A lot of times when they do go to vacations, they're going alone, or with women they don't even like, or people they don't even like. Sometimes they're going on trips with family and everybody's booed up with them, and they leave more depressed than they came. So it's just like, this is an environment for you to be poured into. So I really create an environment where they don't have to lift a finger, do a thing. You don't have to chase behind no kids. You don't got to do nothing. Just come on over here. Everything's always going to be all inclusive, and just enjoy. You just got to show up. So we do that. That is our annual retreat stateside, and then we do an annual international retreat as well. Last year was Montego Bay for us as well, and this year is Greece. So yeah,
I love it.
Yeah,
an idea. Okay, all right.
Oh yeah, yes, great comment. Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. That is phenomenal. And so, so tell me about your success rate, because you done married some people off.
Sure did. So I got a wedding coming up next month. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make it. I have some obligations. Had a wedding over the summer as well. That unfortunately, of course, I'm invited. Not of course, but thankfully I've been invited. But I wasn't able to make it. That one I really would have liked to go, because that was in the Virgin Islands. She got married. So that's one of, I think we're up to 5, because there's a woman that got engaged early this year. I think they're planning their wedding before the end of the year. And there's another wedding that happened early this year from women that have gone through my program. So this is just like, this is the harvest of the work that they would have started doing a year or two ago. Okay. So yeah, but every year we have women that have gotten married within the first 12 months of me being full time. I think we had 3 marriages. So it's definitely something that works. But in regards to a success rate, every woman gets to choose her own goal. Not everybody wants to use the program to get married, which is important to point out, right? So we're not forcing that on anybody, but at the end of the day, how are you going to get the opportunity to be proposed to if you don't have someone there to propose to you? Okay. So understanding how to create those options for yourself, options that you can actually feel confident saying yes to. So you don't feel like you're just taking whatever you can kind of get in the state that you are right now. Right. So again, some women sign up to just build their confidence again. Some of them sign up to actually know how to attract a man, and they feel like they can probably take it from there. All good. So yeah, so 3 out of 4 women get their results within 12 months. 3 out of 4. Okay, I follow up with them. They come back and they say, look what I did. Look what I'm able to do. A lot of them have been able to buy their first home through the program, building their confidence, right? Knowing how to communicate, stand up for themselves, dream again, rather than just settling for whatever life has thrown at them, right? And so some ladies, there was one principal I had, she wanted to obviously have a partner, which she does now, and she also wanted to adopt, but her particular position didn't allow for that, but she just kind of kept putting everything off because of her job. But through the program, she realized that, oh, I'm going to drive a seat. And so she actually began to inquire about a position that would be more, suitable for the future she wanted for herself. And the Board of Education in her jurisdiction created a job for her where she's actually higher than a principal. So she was promoted, but then it was also a type of job that created the flexibility that she needed. So it's just like we've been talking about, making the decision for change, and then you'll be surprised how many opportunities come from that.
Love it. I love that story. That's such a great story. And, I tell the story all the time, and not to, my husband, and it's not because of the fact that we just were not good for each other, right? We were good to have them couple of children that we had that are amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were not good for each other. And so I believe next to God that your decision on who you're going to have or who you're going to have within your home is the next best decision, obviously. And then, of course, your job and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But I tell the story that before we got married,
Mm-hmm.
I got my LPN.
Mm-hmm.
In between the time that we were separated, I got my RN degree.
Okay.
When we divorced the last time,
Mm-hmm.
I was able, and I married my husband.
Okay.
Between the time I got my BSN, my master's, and my DNP within 5 years of us being married. And it is because environment is important.
Yes.
Who you hang around with is incredibly important. And if you want to do the things, you need to be very intentional about those things, about who you hang out with. And if you don't want to get married, like you said, that's okay. But really have an understanding of what you really, really want at the end of the
what you really want. And I think especially in the Christian community, because a lot of the women I work with are Christian, I'm Christian. And there's this thought that if you are not ready for marriage yet, right, that you don't need to have any male companionship at all. And that's just not true. That actually helps a woman build her trust, because if you're just not having any male anything in your life, usually that's rooted in there being some difficulty trusting men. Right. Because you can have men in as part of your environment, as you said, which is extremely important. And you can be poured into, you can be supported, you can be covered without feeling like you have to give anything up or compromise yourself. So a lot of times it seems impossible, but it's extremely possible.
Yeah. I never really thought of like that. Like, I didn't think I didn't need men. I was like, yes, I need, not that I need one, but, kind of want one, right?
Right.
I am just gonna, at the end of the day, I was just gonna hang out with everybody, and I was just gonna have a good dinner with everybody, and then we were gonna see which one, actually pans out. Because I was tired of that falling in love, and and then it not panning out.
So yeah, I mean, your approach is exactly what we're all. That's like the way to do it. Basically, that's the way to do it. I think sometimes though, is some women, if not born, they're kind of raised or exposed to certain things, or they just kind of come with a certain type of comfort around men or confidence around men. And some don't have it either because of past relationships, abuse, or just not understanding what is really happening when you are around a man. So that's mostly like the thing that we work on overcoming is trusting yourself around a man while you're dating them, getting to know them, and trust, and knowing when to trust them.
I love that. I love that. So, all right. So I got some rapid fire questions for you. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. So tell me, what has been the most rewarding thing about your career, your entrepreneurship journey?
Most rewarding is knowing that I could do it. That was it. Because I had a whole lot of self-doubt just in my own life, just in general. I sought validation from others and all that kind of stuff all my life. So stepping out and doing something like this, as bold as it requires me to be, I've grown so much. So I would say just that I can do it.
I love it. What is a common misconception about entrepreneurship?
That it is, what do I say? That it's glamorous.
It can be, but I mean, it cannot be.
Yeah, it's mostly not. Yes, yeah. It's not easy, but the payoff is absolutely worth it. I wouldn't trade it for anything. So just like having a baby, it ain't glamorous.
Sure.
You ain't gonna put that on your Instagram. You're just not gonna do that. All the stuff, all up in the goods. All right, but of course, it's a worthy thing to do. So yeah.
So what are you reading now?
Right now, I am reading Hold Me Tight. I don't know the name of the author, but it's a book around understanding attachment styles, but then also growing past any concerns around difficult relationships and understanding how to basically not have to, how do I want to frame this? Not have to give up on key people in your life because they're difficult or have a different way of expressing themselves or a different way of navigating their own emotions. So yeah, I'm not too far into it yet, but yeah, I look forward to finishing it.
I love it. I love it. So now, what are some of the biggest lessons that you have learned in business?
Oh, I would say that the biggest lesson is, okay, yes, this is what I'll say. Focus most on how you can serve and you'll be okay.
That is so good. That is so good. I love that. Now, who is a leader, living or dead, that you would like to have a conversation with?
Myron Golden.
Wow. Ooh, let me tell you. Good to me. Okay. Yeah, I love it. Just, he is amazing. So what is your favorite movie?
My favorite movie, this is going to sound really dark and totally just offbeat to everything we've been talking about. But I would have to say Departed. I'm sorry. It just is. I love my movies. I love it. Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon, Jack Nicholson, The Departed.
The Departed. And what is it about?
Oh my God, it's an Irish kind of mob movie. It's based out of Boston. It's about 12, 13 years old now. But
Okay.
yeah, I love that movie. It's directed by Martin Scorsese, the king of mob movies. It's just incredible.
Okay. Yeah.
But entrepreneurship movies, my
Okay.
number one is Social Network.
It's called Social Network.
Mm-hmm. That's the story of how Facebook was born.
Oh, say less. I'm going to watch that. I'm going to watch that. Okay. Thank you for that nugget. Okay. 'Cause I love entrepreneurship movies, but you can't find them as much, right?
That's true.
So I love them. So how do you define success?
Oh my goodness, that's so subjective. And so oh my God, how I define success is peace.
Mm.
So if money gives you access to peace because you can do this, you can do that, you got the flexibility, then there you go. You just whatever your relationships give you access to peace. All right, there you go. If flexibility in your job gives you peace, all right. But peace for me.
I love it. Now, what's your life's motto?
My life's motto, I would have to say, prepare to be pursued.
I love it. Now, how can people find you?
So Linktree Nikki Anarado is where you can find everything. But www. My website is preparedtobepursued.com. And so yeah, I can give you the link, and I don't know if it'll show up anywhere, but I'll definitely have that for you. But yeah, and I'm on Facebook. I'm not prevalent on any other social media, but you can find me on Facebook too.
You're not on any other social media?
I'm on LinkedIn, but no, not doing Instagram. It's just no, I too much. Too much. Yeah, but I will be.
Okay, sweet. Okay, so it's been amazing talking to you, Nikki. I always love, like, we have the best conversations whenever we chat with each other. So thank you for coming today, because it is just, you are just absolutely amazing at what you're doing, and your conversations, your execution. I'm just pretty proud of you. So thank you for getting the men that they need. I wish I'd have seen you several years ago. Maybe I wouldn't have got the men that I got. So, maybe I didn't need to see you. I don't know. Right. But I think that the Lord absolutely put us together. And so I'm super excited about that. So you ladies and gentlemen, again, you like, share, comment on the podcast. Make sure that you're sharing Nikki's story, and make sure that you're sharing all the nuggets that Nikki dropped, because she dropped a lot of them today. And we look forward to seeing you ladies and gentlemen later. Bye-bye.